So we're gonna make chicken wraps. You ready for some chicken wraps? All right, we'll be making those in just about an hour. Hetty gets here. We'll start cooking some bacon and some chicken right after the show. Are you ready? All right, here we go. All right, my friends. Hey, I'm glad to be here with you on a Saturday night at 6:30 p.m. And it's January 23rd, 2021. It's important that I give you that date because I'm going to be talking about something that I talked about maybe about 5 or 6 months ago. Can't remember exactly, but I'm going to be talking about that in regard to that thing, the thing that makes us sick and that puts us in the hospital. Supposedly we have to wear masks. Shh, don't tell anybody. Because I'm going to get taken off. It'll be every time I bring it up, it gets deleted off of Twitter and Facebook, whatever. But we're going to be talking about that. But I do want to talk about this thing that has recently, as a police officer of 21 years and even a Christian of somewhere around, that long, 20 something years, I've never been called a bigot as much as I've been called a bigot over the last couple weeks. It is really interesting. And so I want to address this thing because the Democrats love to call you names, right? They love to call you racist, white supremacist, terrorist, bigot, a-hole, mother effer. I've been called it all over the last several months, and I love it because they are so wrong. They just show their stupidity and their idiocy when they just call a group of people these names, right? It was deplorables back when President Trump was running against Hillary Clinton and a whole bunch of other names, I'm sure. But lately it's just been even greater as I become more focused on some local things that are going on around my city and in northern Orange County, California. I feel a little bit more heat coming my way, and the name bigot has been coming up a heck of a lot more, and that's because that's a new term apparently that the children around here have decided that that's what they're going to focus on. I want to make sure and bring you to the attention. Go to patriotcoms.org, patriotcoms.org. Go there, put your email address in, and then put your name in a password so that we can stay in contact, because it won't be long before I and a few other people that are speaking about conservative Christian topics will be taken off. So make sure and go there and put your information in there. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to sell your information. It's just to let you know where Hetty and I are going to be going forward. We've been offered a lot of opportunities coming up. Now we have to do the hard job of deciding which ones we're going to actually take. Some of the offers that are coming up. And so it's going to be in the effort of producing more warriors and patriots for our country to fight against the people that have just simply lost their mind. We know that Trader Joe has signed a couple executive orders. One of them is to allow men to compete against women in women's sports, which is, you really got to look at that as they just not only do they hate conservative Christians, they seemingly hate women. When did that start? Remember a time when they're supposed to believe all women, right? Believe all women when they accuse men of any kind of sexual attack, which, I mean, if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't, right? But they had this thing where you believe all women, no matter what. And as a sex crimes detective over at Anaheim Police Department and being a police officer for 21 years, I'm telling you, there were a lot of women that lied. Now, I'm not saying that that's as a as a bigot, as a male chauvinist pig. I'm just telling you what I know to be fact. I prosecuted a couple women for lying about a sexual attack that did not happen. They either got caught by their husband for cheating, or they got caught by their dads for sneaking out at night doing things they should have been done. And so I was more than happy to prosecute them for false allegations, because the false allegation against a man of a sexual assault is life-changing. It could change a man's life for the rest of his life, right? And so, but the Democrats, right? We're for women. You believe all until somebody came against Trader Joe, right? You had a person that said, Trader Joe has sexually assaulted me, and suddenly we don't believe all women. And now it's began to get worse. Now they want men to compete against women and women. So you're going to basically get rid of women's sports. The thing that women have been doing since they were little girls, preparing for the Olympics, preparing for high school sports and competition. And now for what? For nothing. Because pretty soon they're going to have enough men. They're going to say, you know what? I just can't compete with other men. So I'm going to identify as a woman, so I can now get a gold medal in the Olympics. So I can now win the medals in high school that I couldn't win in the men's area. I'm just going to identify as a man, because that's all it requires, according to Trader Joe. Right. So now they hate women too. Now, I've already heard it all. You're saying, oh no, you're being hyperbolic. No, you're making. I'm not making anything up. Democrats apparently hate women. You cannot now identify as a woman. One of the most popular posts I just put up is one recently where I said, what are we going to call the wife of, and you can't say wife, I'm sorry, the spouse of Trader Joe? What are we going to call that person? Because we can't use lady anymore, because Nancy Pelosi said we couldn't. Right? It's now become law that you can no longer use gender-specific words. So what are we going to call that person? And it's a real question, because you can't. I know they have it on the website. I had somebody just it says on the website First Lady. Well, it can't say First Lady, because they said it can't. In Congress, they said you could no longer use gender-specific words. So what are we going to call this person who is the spouse of that person who is currently in the White House? I don't know. It's a legitimate question. But I'm the bigot, apparently, because I bring up the question of what it is that we're going to call. Explain insurrection on January 6th. What do you mean? What insurrection? An insurrection did not occur, Donna. Oh, wait, did you explain? What do you want me to explain? Mitch McConnell said that. So Mitch McConnell is the decider of everything, apparently. He is just as much of a traitor as Nancy Pelosi and Trader Joe is. He did not. Show me where. Donna, I want you to type in the words. Type in the words that President Trump used on January 6th that said, go, break into the Capitol. I want you to take the words out of the speech. I know that he said peacefully and patriotically, go tell them how you feel. So now you're telling me that because you guys, I'm assuming you're Democrat, I'm assuming you're a libtard or whatever you are. I'm assuming that you are saying that peaceful now is in order to attack a federal building. When all summer long, you and the media and everybody else is saying, look at, they're peacefully protesting as the building burned, as the federal building got attacked, as they blinded police officers with lasers. You're saying they were being peaceful, but you're saying when Donald Trump says peaceful, that it means something else? Is that what you're saying? I need to understand. I need you to type, Don, I need you to type the words that said. And again, I don't know, maybe you're being hyperbolic, or maybe you're just going along with it, but you're just being, you're joking. I don't know. But if it's somebody else that thinks that President Trump used any kind of word that said, hey, go blow up the Capitol, go break down the doors, go hit a police officer in the head with a fire extinguisher. As a matter of fact, he said the police officers are on our side. The police officers leave them alone. Do not give them any pressure. If anybody out there can show me the word, I've asked. I've never seen the words that said, go attack the Capitol. He said, peacefully and patriotically go to the Capitol and tell them how you feel. Again, I've had arguments with even Republicans who have said, well, you shouldn't have said what. Well, what did he say? Tell me what he said. I need to hear those words. What is nitty? Nitty. I'm not sure what nitty means. And thank you, April. Put in the transcript. The transcript. Show me the You can go through the transcript with your nitty, and whatever that is. I'm going to go for the nitty. All right. So, April saying hi. Priscilla saying hi. Fantastic. Love you guys. Love you, Donna. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate that. And then April put up the transcript there. All right. So as you know, these nitwits, it is really laughable. And so again, go to patriotcoms.org, sign up, go there if you are sane, if you are a patriot, if you're for the Constitution, especially if you're a conservative Christian, go to patriotcoms.org, put your name in there, email address, and join us so that we can keep track of where we're going. And so they can. Absolutely. I've yet to have anybody say, show me the words. They'll impeach him anyway. Who cares? I don't care whether you impeach him or not. And I actually encourage you to impeach him. It will just make us stronger. You guys are idiots, and you're just going to make mistakes. You're going to do more stuff that's going to be simply ridiculous. It's just really one of the craziest things. All right, so let's get to the meeting. I'm going to go to the meeting of a bigot first because I want to talk about this, and I'm going to do a little bit of Pastor Jack right here. So Pastor Jack, I played it on an earlier show that I did, where Pastor Jack over at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, he got on and said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to be attacked for my role in encouraging churches to stay open in California. I'm going to be attacked because I think that we should, believe in the Constitution, that we should not be taking away the freedom of speech, that we need to be wary of the social media tyrants who are taking conservative Christians off simply because of what they believe." And he said, because of that, I want you to know that I pay my taxes, that I've been married to the same woman for 43 years. This is Pastor Jack speaking. Been married to the same woman for 43 years. The only person I have sex with is with my wife. The only person I've ever had sex with. So he went on and said, I just want you to know this, because the crazies, the lunatics who want nitty, are going to attack me and say a whole bunch of things. They are going to attack. And we've seen it before. We've seen it with Leandra Blades, that they've been attacking her and saying that she's a terrorist, that she's a bigot, that she's a racist, that she that they hope that she will die, that they've been wishing for her death. And so we've seen it. We know how evil they are and stupid they are, that they will try to pull all these shenanigans. And so I wanted to come on and just talk about this thing that I've been called in regard to bigotry. Now, you can attack me because I've been married more than a couple times. I've shared with you a lot of stuff. I've been a police officer for 21 years. You can attack me for being a cop. Apparently, cops are Nazis. Apparently, cops are horrible people. They arrest people and separate people from parents from their children, and we put supposedly children in dog crates. That's what I've heard. All right, but I've not done any of those things. So let's look at bigotry. Bigotry is an obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief. Again, I want to read that first part. Obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or faction. In particular, prejudice against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group, the difficulties of combating prejudice and bigotry. Sorry. There's a lot of P's and B's in that one. All right. And so the opposite, unreasonable attachment to a belief. Now, I don't think being a patriot is necessarily an obstinate or reasonable attachment to a belief. I think believing in our country, putting America first, is exactly what every American should do. And for whatever reason, there's been a portion of our country who has been told and taught in universities and colleges and high schools and maybe even junior highs that being a patriot, being for America, is racist. It is not, because America is the least racist country on the planet. It always has been. They've always worked towards abolition of slavery. We got into a war and went against brother against brother, father against son in some cases, and neighbor against neighbor to abolish slavery. So, and it's always been working towards abolition of slavery since our creation. Slavery has been a part of our world history for as long as there's been history written. And the United States was one of the first countries that came in and continually worked towards the abolition of slavery. And so you have a portion of this country who believes, because we believe in this country, that somehow we are bigots because we put America first. We need to put America first because other countries need America to be first. They need us to help them in conflicts. They need us to help them when there's tragedies like hurricanes and earthquakes. America is one of the first countries that always dives in to help in any disaster. And so you cannot go, oh my gosh, my camera, I hate it when my camera does this. Autofocus is turned off, but somehow I am blurred. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why that is occurring. Nothing I can do about it because it's turned off. So it should not be autofocusing. But anyway, opposite or unreasonable about attachment to it. So putting America first is not an unreasonable obstinate attachment to a belief, an opinion. A prejudice against a person or people on the side based on their membership or a particular group. Now, I'm guessing that what people are saying is that somehow a conservative Christian is against gays, transgenders, I don't know, I forget what else you call them, LBGTQ, LMNOP, whatever you call them, that somehow conservative Christians are hate them. Or that has never been, like, as long as I've been a Christian. Now, listen, there is a faction of Christians or a faction of religious zealots who hate gays. That is absolutely true. But I'm sure there's some Democrats that don't like gays. I'm sure there's some Muslims definitely don't like gays. Nazis definitely hate gays. But the Christian faith, especially as I get deeper in the Christian faith, loves everybody because Jesus loved everybody. Jesus walked with the prostitutes, the tax collectors, the other, what would be considered the people that are not clean in our world. Jesus was the first one to hug them, kiss them, pray for them, and join them in prayer and hoping that something would happen to help them get through whatever difficulties they may be going through because of who they are, and was always there. And I want you to understand who I am, I guess, on some level, because I want to make sure that this is clear. And I really don't care whether you believe me or not. But even as a fledgling Christian, when I was previously married, and I'm going to share the story. It's going to be an unpopular story because I'm going to share a little bit of my life that maybe people may find offensive because of they know my ex-wife, but and I don't know that she ever will even say that this was not true, but she definitely hated gays, and she was a Christian. My oldest daughter, had a friend who was a boy who identified as a girl, and I loved him. I still love him. I haven't seen him in a very long time, or I think he's transitioned now to being a woman, but I was the first one to say, invite him over for dinner. I don't care how he dresses, but my ex-wife forbid my daughter from bringing him to the house. And so this is one of the first conflicts where I have with a person who believes they were Christian, right? And this is the problem with Christianity, and this is a problem across the board with everybody, is that you got to be very careful that you begin throwing names at people, calling them bigots and calling them horrible people, when you have no idea what you're talking about. There are sinners and people that have opinions and things that you do not want to begin to label people, because they're going to begin to label you and they're going to find out something about you. Everybody has a flaw. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but you cannot call, and you can't. That's your freedom. You can call me bigot. That's the great thing about America. You can come on my show and type a comment calling me a bigot, because you know why? Because I'm American and you live in America. You can even live in another country and call me bigot. I could care less. But I'm telling you that word does not apply to me in the sense that you are using it against me. And you can continue to try to do it, and I just laugh at it because I know the truth. I know who I am. You can call me whatever you want. Continue. It doesn't matter to me, because I'm trying not to say the person's name because I don't want to cause any grief in their family. But because my ex-wife would not allow him into the house, I would go out with my daughter to go spend time with him, to go to his house with his family at a barbecue that they might have. We went to America's Got Talent together. He was dressed as a woman then. And I gave him a big hug. We took a picture together. A very, at least for what I knew of this person, a fine man. And I still pray for him today. There's no problem with me. Hey, you want to come to church with us? It would be great if he would go. I doubt that he would go because of his belief. So I just want you to know that my aunt growing up as a child was gay, living with her girlfriend, her name was Joe. My Aunt Betty, I know, and I'm sure they don't mind. My Aunt Betty was with Joe in my entire life, from the time that I can remember, from the time of birth until I think Betty has passed away. I'm sure she has. I don't know why I said I think, but Joe and her were together my entire life. I'm 58, so at least for 60 years, right? I think and I loved both of them. I loved Aunt Joe, who sometimes I called Uncle Joe just to be funny, but I love them. They're part of my life. And I pray for them today. I don't hate them. I don't hate the person that my daughter spent time with, who had a really close friendship with because of who he was and what he identified as. So this craziness, this sure just ridiculousness of coming on and calling me a bigot for what? What? Because I host a show that talks about conservative Christianity and what I think the Constitution should say about welcoming all people. All the Muslims, all the Syrians, all who else got it? The Cubans, right? Many of these people, all the Iranians that come into our country, who in their leadership are evil, demonic dictators, doesn't mean the people that identify as I'm using now the word identify, that identify as the place where they were born are not evil people necessarily. I don't know. They could be. We got evil Americans, a large number of them currently that are in our political office, by the way, who are our enemy, who called against, on the inauguration day, he said that he is calling for a war against a specific group of Americans. What president comes in and says that he's calling for a war against Americans? I don't think ever in our country, maybe during the Civil War times, I don't know. I don't recall any speech that said that. But what president comes in and says, we are going to war against Americans? This is a really bizarre time. And this is who you are trusting in and believing in. This is who you are saying, well, we're going to follow him, so we're going to call anybody that doesn't believe in what we believe in, doesn't say the things that we want them to say, doesn't fall in line with what it is that we believe in, or what we want to happen in this country. They are bigots. They are terrorists. We are going to war against those people. You want a war? We'll be here to go to stand. We will stand for God. We will stand for this country. We will stand for this Constitution. You're free to call me whatever you want. I'm telling you that whatever you come up with, I will come up with an example of how you are wrong, and do it often, because you are wrong. The last thing that I am is a bigot. But you can call me a bigot all you want. You can call me an a-hole. You can call me all these other names. But apparently you have no idea what a bigot is. And more often than not, you probably are the bigot, because that's what's happening, right? Whatever the Democrats say you are is what they are or what they are doing. That is really what is true. So I'm trying to do a lot of comments. I'm trying to get through. I get understanding that I'm broadcasting on 5 different Facebook pages, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. If I don't see your comment, it is not because I'm ignoring you. There's so many comments that are on my end. You may only be seeing 2 or 3, but on my end, I'm seeing a whole bunch. We hate the sin, not the sinner. Exactly. We pray for the sinner. I'm a sinner. Hedia, my love, my wife, is a sinner. We all are sinners. So, in Christianity, all sins are equal, which I had a huge difficulty with. I will grant you that. I have difficulty believing that the sin of a child molester is the same as a sin of somebody who lies. I have trouble with that. But I've had to deal with it, and now I've come to terms with it, and now I understand what God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit mean when they say all sins are on the same plane, that there's not infractions, misdemeanors, and felonies. There was a period of time where I thought, as long as I'm handling, my sins are in the infraction area, I'm going to be okay. As long as I never go to the felony, I'm going to heaven. No, that's not how it works. And I know I've had a huge difficulty in understanding that. So I cannot say that somebody who's gay is more of a sinner than I am, because I sin all the time. And so you don't know what you're talking about. And quite often you're just simply trying to enrage people and hope that you get a reaction. I really don't care. I love bringing you on, though, when you say stupid stuff, when you're a moron. Oh, I know. I've been trying. I saw one here. Andy, your thoughts on the 1871 Act and the agreement of the Congress entered into making us the corporation. That is an interesting, that is something I'm going to have to spend more time on. I've just recently started seeing that, Carmela. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into more of it. And I think Hetty and I together may have to do that. She has a lot more experience in the federal government, working for Washington, D.C. and under 5 different presidents and that guy. She may have a little bit more insight on that. It is an interesting topic that has been brought to my attention, and I may have to look a little bit more further. I really would love to comment on what I think right now, but I hate to comment on something that I don't at least have a better handle on. And so I got to say that. A lot of biblical references here, Revelations 12:10 to 12:17, just a whole bunch. All right, so I want to hit one more thing about the thing, and I'm going to have to talk about it now, because it's something I talked about 6 months ago, if not more, when all this was beginning to happen, when they began to ask for testing. And then they began to scream for testing, and then they began to demand more testing. And as I began to look into, so now let me bring up a screen share here, and I just want to have it ready. I'm not going to bring it. Forget which one I want to bring up first. Yeah, I'll bring up this one. I just want to bring up the headline of this one first, in just 1 second. And that is that we had a pandemic previous to this, right, during the Obama-Biden administration. And it was very similar in the sense that it was worse, right? It was worse only because it infected more people and caused death with it didn't matter what your age group was. The COVID-19, as we know, tends to take a greater toll on people that are older and that have underlying conditions, that respiratory conditions and that type of thing. And so it is, we know it's a smaller group of people we know can die. But the H1N1 killed everybody that got it and got really sick from it. There was not an age group that was. Of course, older people tend to always be a little bit more affected by it, but also children were dying, and teenagers were dying, and 20-year-olds were dying, and it was a deadly pandemic. And during that period of time, and I'll bring this up really quick. It says Biden has fought a pandemic before, and it did not go smoothly. It's because they sneaked through it somehow. They found it to be, I'm so sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong thing, a little bit overwhelming. And the Obama administration ability to stop the swine flu came down to luck. One former aide said, the person that actually was in charge of it said that they were lucky that it didn't kill more people. All right. And so we know that has been reported. It's not hyperbolic. I know that it gets fact checked. I know that people think that this, no. They were lucky to get through something. And the one thing that they did is they did not test people. They actually backed off on testing people. That is one thing that we know for sure, again, because of facts and reporting, when they used to report on things. And it is Obama administration shut down H1N1 testing, complicating Biden's attacks on Trump's coronavirus screening. Right. So back, and I'm not sure when this article is from. Is there a date on this one? July 9th. So back in July, when they were, screaming for more testing, this article came out. And what they were trying to say is that, hey, we were asking for more testing, but how come back when you were responsible for it? Oh, did I not bring it up? Sorry about that. When you and so this is the article. I just want to show you that there's actually an article, and there's the title. Obama admin shut down H1N1 testing, complicating Biden's attacks on Trump's coronavirus screen. Because he was saying there's not enough screening. But yet Obama and Biden, said we need to stop testing. There needs to be no more testing. And this is another article. If you just do a search for it, you can find it. Let me see. I'm looking for, there was a part here that I had earlier. Gosh darn it. I wish there was a way that I could mark these. In late July, in late July, the CDC abruptly advised states to stop testing for H1N1 flu and stop counting individual cases, CBS News reported in 2009. The rationale given for the CDC guidance to forego testing and tracking individual cases was, why waste resources testing for H1N1 flu when the government has already confirmed there is an epidemic? That is the really important thing. And people don't want to talk about it. They want to forget about it. And I was bringing this back up several months ago. And I said, what's going to happen is they're going to force Trump to create more testing. I was talking about this early on. You can find it if you want to. Just look for it if you want to. It's not that interesting to do that, but I'm just telling you. I told you the reason they want more testing, because you test more people, you're going to show that it's a worse pandemic than what they're going to make it worse. They're going to show people, look at all these people that have it. We know people have. Obama Biden administration knew that. They said, if we test, we already know it's a pandemic. We already know a bunch of people are going to have it. What's going to happen is these numbers are going to be huge, and it's going to make us look bad. It's going to show the country has a large amount of people that are infected with the H1N1. And they said, let's not do that because we don't want to. I don't know if they didn't want to scare people. I don't know if they just didn't want to look bad. Whatever reason, they admitted that we already know it's a pandemic. So why test? But here, the Democrats were screaming. The governors were, we need more. Why is there not enough test? And they were just like crazy that they wanted testing. Why? Because they wanted to make it worse so they could shut down our country. There is no doubt in anybody's mind, even Democrats, and any Republican, and even some of the people that want to just not believe it, the media, who I'm talking about, who they understood if we can get them to test more, it's going to make it look worse, and we're going to be able to shut down states. They didn't care that they destroyed businesses. They didn't care that they destroyed the lives of children who could no longer go to school and they became depressed and began to commit suicide. They don't care about that. They don't care that kids can't go and play sports. One of the ways of releasing stress, one of the ways to release the daily grind of whether either something that's happening at home or something that's happening in school or with their friends, that sports is a great way to relieving some of these tensions. They didn't care that they were shutting them down. The only way they could shut these places down is by having more testing and creating an idea of fear, or the fear in the people of, we got to put a mask on. And now you're walking around with a faceless and expressionless human beings around the planet, around the United States of America, going into stores. You can't tell if somebody's smiling. You can't tell if anybody is happy. You got these drones walking around, and now you're just bringing down this dark cloud over the country. Nobody cared. The Democrats, all they wanted to do was destroy this country. And so that's what they decided to do. So we have Inauguration Day. So that's why I want to talk about the thing today. We have Inauguration Day, and what happens on our Inauguration Day? You got states like Nebraska that go from red being you got to shut everything down, that on Inauguration Day, magically things turn to orange and they begin to open things up. Suddenly, the PCR testing is no longer good, so we're just going to stop testing. Right now, they're finding excuses to stop testing. And I know I got mad last night and I got really heated. I was really trying not to get heated tonight. But we see, you don't be a moron. Don't be stupid. Don't be like them and really believe that, oh, things must be getting better because Biden's a president. No, when you stop testing, listen to me. When you stop testing, you stop having results of people being infected. You start telling people, hey, the tests are ineffective. So, we're just going to stop testing. Oh, look at infections are going down. Yeah, but the testing went down. Shh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. We're gonna fool everybody. We're gonna think. Look at since the crazy guy that has dementia came into power, and the first person that that he's living with, and the first vice president who can't be identified as that thing. Since they became into power, suddenly, look at, we don't have as many people getting infected. How crazy is that? PCR, they're going to tell PCR doesn't work. And so we're just going to stop testing. Biden knows this works because he was the one back in the H1N1 with Obama who said, we're not going to test. And when we don't test, we don't have as many infections. We don't have as many people that have COVID. And so keep an eye and understand why now the Democratic states that weren't opening, that were closing every other, they were going into bigger lockdowns and causing the restaurants to be closed. And watch as now, suddenly, with less testing, you have the states that are red going to orange, going to yellow and chartreuse and pink, whatever they go. I don't know what they go to. Whatever it is they go to, you're going to see the masking requirements being lifted, the restaurants being opened, church still be, you can't open churches. That will still be closed. don't worry about that. They're still, no, the churches are the worst because they sing and stuff and they love each other and they hug and they welcome everybody, even gays, even prostitutes, even tax collectors. The church welcomes, no, they don't. They're bigots. So we got to close down the churches, but everything else can open. Don't worry about that. So I just want to put you on notice and put you on guard for what you're going to see is going to happen as these states begin to open up, because they're going to start telling you that the tests aren't effective. So because of Trump, of course, the Trump tests are not effective. And so we're just going to stop testing. And that was a ridiculous thing to do anyway, is to be testing everybody, because what did it tell us? We already knew we had a pandemic. So why test? Yes, Carol says, yeah. And we have Comey who says the Republican Party has to be burned to the ground. And so this is one of the ways they're going to do it. They're going to say, look at when President Trump was, the Republican Party was in power, at least as far as the president's concerned and the Senate's concerned, look at what a horrible job they did, that everybody was dying, everybody was infected. And now that we have a Democrat, we're going to now show you why the Republican Party needs to be burned down, because they are clearly ineffective. They didn't know enough not to test people. We know enough not to test people, because when we don't test people, then people aren't infected by the pandemic. Woo! All right, I got a little heated again. All right, my friends, those of you who watch, everybody turned off when they didn't want to hear the truth. Not everybody. I had a large group when we was talking about bigotry, but when I started talking about the pandemic, oh no, he's talking about the pandemic. We can't hear the truth. The truth is horrible. Facts and science. That's the kryptonite to the Democrats. Don't ever talk about that. That's horrible. It's going to get you thrown out of Twitter, the Twitter sphere, and the Facebook sphere. I don't care. What do I care? I'm over it. You guys are morons. Let me see. Carl says, January 22nd, 2021, LifeSite News. And what some have suggested is politicized timing. The World Health Organization on Wednesday changed the protocol for COVID-19 tests, which will result in large reduction in the numbers of positive cases. Thank you. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. I wish I would have found that out before I went on. But thank you. Again, I talked about this 6 months ago. I told you what was going to happen. I said this very thing. I said, if the Democrats come into power, they're going to stop testing, and it's going to the cases are going to go down, and then miraculously everything's going to open back up again. I'm happy for things to open back up again, but don't be fooled that it's the Democrats that did it. The only way they did it is by lying to you. They've been lying to you since the beginning. It definitely is they don't care. Again, the Democrats, the voters are numbskulls, and you're useful idiots. And I know that I have had people say, well, I'm educated. I had a guy today say, I follow you because of your dog training things, and I really get tired of your political stuff. Well, I'm sorry, because this is necessary. And you being tired of this political stuff, you're going to be one of the first to that they're going to go after. The weak and the idiots are the ones they go after. And so you go ahead and stick your head in the sand. You go ahead and not want to hear things, because it's getting a little tiresome hearing the truth. The truth is really bad. And you're calling my family members who voted for Biden idiots. They are idiots, because they have no they have no shame that they voted for a guy that has dementia. Did I say guy? I'm sorry. A thing that has dementia, and then thing that he brought on as the VP hated him, called him a racist, and called him a sexual predator, but then called him a leader after the thing asked it to be vice president. Then suddenly that thing was a leader, right? Wait, just a couple months ago you called him a racist, and then like a few weeks ago you called him a sexual predator. Wait a minute. And you voted for this. You, the Democrat, who's tired of hearing me talk about political stuff. All right, Boomer. You go on sticking your head in the sand. Just continue that. Facts over truth. All right, my friends. So I want to come on, talk a little bit about that. I thought it was interesting that people are calling me a bigot that don't know me. Fine, call me a bigot. I don't care. But those that know me and know my history and know the type of people that I love being around everybody. I love having, joke about, the stereotypes. It's all fun and games. I know that bothers some people, but we are all in this together. Enjoy each other, each other's differences, the different kinds of foods we like to eat. It's, what happened? What happened to us? The funniest comedians are the ones that talked about the different races and the different, countries people came from. Those were the funny times. People used to have a sense of humor. Some of the best shows on television involved the differences between people, but we still loved one another. We still fought together. Some of the people that I fought together at the police department in gun battles and police chases were gay and from other races, and we high-fived each other when we caught bad guys. There were some gays that I would rather have on my entry team into an active shooter than some of the heterosexuals that I worked with, who are just complete incompetent boobs. And so you can't tell me. I'm just gonna go on another tirade. I'll end it at that. I love you guys. God bless you. God bless America, and just pray for us every day. And join us at church, Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills with Jack Hibbs. Come and join. I know that we're full, but get there early. We'll save you a seat. All right, my friends, take care. We love you. God bless.